everyone, my name is Marissa, and I'm going to do a tutorial today for the Potomac Bead Company. And for today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this ring that I am calling, that's how it looks from the side, that I am calling my sweet and simple ring. So this is how it looks. It's very quick, it's very simple, and you should not have a hard time making this ring. Another good thing about it is that it doesn't use a whole lot of materials. So if you only have, it only takes 6 IrisDuos. So if you've used most of your tube of IrisDuos and you only have 6, you can make this little ring. So that's a good thing about rings, is they usually don't take a whole lot of materials, and you can usually use what you have left of other tubes of your stuff. So let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to need to make this. So as I said, you're going to need IrisDuos. For the one I'm going to make with you today, I'm going to use the Aztec Gold, and you're going to need 8. Now, you're going to need 6 for the actual top part here, the flower, and you're going to need 2 more for the side. Now, if you want, you can use, like in this one, I use the white baby blue luster IrisDuos. I could have also done my side IrisDuos in, let's say, the Labrador full, or maybe bronze. Well, maybe not bronze, but the Labrador, even Aztec Gold, would look pretty. So, keep that in mind. Your 6 can be one color, and then the 2 on the side could be a totally different color if you want. But I'm going to keep mine the same, just like I did with the ring. So as I said, I'm going to use 8 and they're all going to be the Aztec Gold IrisDuos. IrisDuos are exclusive to Potomac Bead Company, so you will have to purchase them with them. You will also need a Montee, a rose Montee in the size SS20. For today's project, I'm going to use the Amethyst. For this one, I just use the crystal. And you will need 1. And again, it's size SS20. You will need seed beads. You will need 15 O's, 8 O's, and 11 O's. Now, for my 15 O's, you will need your 15 O's and your 8 O's for the top part of your ring. For the one I'm going to make today, I'm going to use these silver lined dark smoky amethyst, and you will only need 4. Again, these are 8 O's. For my 15 O's, I'm going to use Miyuki champagne. My 8 O's are also Miyuki's. For the band, you will need 11 O's for the band. And I'm going to use 2 colors in that. I'm going to use, they're both Miyuki's, and I'm going to use Galvanized champagne, and I'm also going to use this really cool Crystal Magic purple. So, you will also need 1 needle. A size 10 should do it. A size 10 or 12. Sometimes I have a hard time. When I use a size 10, because I'm really stubborn, I don't like size 12 needles. Sometimes I have a hard time going through my 15 O seed beads. So it's up to you. It's up to you. You can use a size 10 or size 15 O. I'm gonna just stick with my size 10 beading needle. You will also need about 3.5 feet of beading thread. For this one, you can kind of see my thread a little bit because I used white and my IrisDuos are light blue. So for this one, I'm going to use green, which I really like, and I should have used with this one. You wouldn't be able to see it because I've used green with blue before and it blends right in. So for this one, I'm going to use the green, 0.006, and 3.5 feet you should be fine with. For tools, flathead pliers to flatten your thread ends with, to thread your needle easier, and also scissors or a thread burner. I'm using the Ultra Thread Sap. So go ahead and get your materials together. and we will start on this cute, sweet, and simple ring. Okay, so I've threaded my needle, and for the first step, you need to go ahead and thread 6 of your IrisDuos. Now before you do that, just check them all. Just make sure that all of them have good clear holes. None of them are clogged, which these are really good. I very rarely get an IrisDuo with a clogged hole, and I got a lot of those, and I really haven't. I think maybe once I've had that problem. So, but I did check it before I started, so it really wasn't a problem. Okay, so go ahead and thread 6 of your IrisDuos and make sure that they are all facing up with the rounded side or puffy side up. So I have 6 on my needle, on my thread. I'm going to bring them down close to the end, and I'm going to tie a knot. And I really need to tie this close to the end. Okay. And I'm going to tie this little knot. And one more time. There we go. So my knot is good. And I'm going to just take this knot and bring it into the IrisDuo next to it. So that's what we got. And I'm going to skip over one more IrisDuo. So from here, I'm also going to get rid of my little tail. Okay, so from here, coming out of this IrisDuo, I'm going to pick up my rose Montee, and I'm going to go through one of the little holes there. Now I'm coming out, well, let me show you. I'm coming out of this IrisDuo here. Here's my thread. I'm going to go into the one across from it. I'm going to go in through the opposite side that I am coming out of. So this one across, coming out this way, I'm going to go in this way. And again, the same hole that we have been using. Now I'm coming out of that IrisDuo there. I'm going to go back into my rose Montee, and I'm going to go through that IrisDuo across from the one I'm coming out of in the opposite direction. So you're going to get a little bit of a crisscross thing going on under your Montee. So get my finger out of the way so you can see, and then just pull, and if you need to like kind of fix it up there on top, go ahead, and it will stay. Once you have all your beads going on, it will stay. Okay, so this is what I have. Got my little Montee there on top. Now I'm just going to go in through that same IrisDuo. I'm going to hop on over to the other hole. Now we're going to work with our 15-ohs and our 8-ohs. So you're going to pick up our 15-ohs, our 8-ohs, and we're also going to add our last 2 IrisDuos. So let's go ahead and do that first. So I'm coming out of an IrisDuo. I'm going to pick up an IrisDuo like this. If I'm holding it, if it's flat on my mat like this, it would be the right hole. So, oh wait, first we got to do 15-oh, IrisDuo, 15-oh, and go in through your next IrisDuo in line and pull. And that will set your IrisDuo there. Now from here, we're going to do 15-oh, 8-oh, 15-oh, go into your next IrisDuo, pull, whoop. Okay, just make sure everything's fine because that was, okay. I seem to have tangled up something here. I will be right back. Okay, I went ahead and I undid my little mistake here that I had in the back. I accidentally skipped an IrisDuo, so that's what happened. But I went ahead and fixed that. Either way, the steps were still correct. So, okay, I put in, we are now working out of our outermost holes of our IrisDuos. And I've just put in one grouping of 15-0 IrisDuo 15-0. Now after that is going to go 15-0, 8-0, 15-0. Go into your next IrisDuo. And then again, 15-0, 8-0, 15-0. Go into your next IrisDuo. That's what you should have. Now you're back across from this grouping of 15-0 IrisDuo 15-0. So we'll do it again. 15-0, IrisDuo, and 15-0. And go into your next IrisDuo. Pull. And then now here again, our last two groupings of 15-0, 8-0, 15-0. Let those drop. Go into your next IrisDuo. Pull. And then again, 15-0, 8-0, 15-0. Let those drop. Go into your next IrisDuo. And go ahead and go into your next little grouping there of 15-0, IrisDuo 15-0. Come out through that 15-0 here. As long as you're coming out of a 15-0 now. So, coming out of a 15-0, we're going to now do this part. And all this is going through each of our 15-0s and connecting them with 5 more 15-0s. So I'm going to put 5 on my needle. Make sure I have 5. I do. And then from here, I'm coming out of this 15-0. I'm going to go into this 15-0. And I'm going to come out. I'm going to go through the 8-0, through the 15-0, and come out of that 15-0. And that will set my little 15-0s here. So 5 more. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let them drop. Coming out of this 15-0. We're going to go into, going to skip the IrisDuo. In other words, we're skipping our IrisDuos. We're not going to go through them. We're going to skip it and go into the 15-0 after it, going through the 8-0 and come out of the 15-0 after the 8-0. So keep doing this all the way around of your little piece. And when you get to over here, okay, when you get to here, go ahead and go through that IrisDuo. So you are going to go through only these 2 IrisDuos. So, and pull. And then 5 more 15-0s. I'm coming out of that 15-0. Going to do 5 more. And then go through this 15-0 here, through the 8-0, out the other 15-0 on the other side of that grouping. And then here again, 5 more go on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip that IrisDuo, going through this grouping of 15-0, 8-0, 15-0. Come out of the 15-0 on the other side of the grouping. Now here, our last one. 2, 3, 4, 5. Go through this one, go through the IrisDuo, and then come out on the other side. Now we're ready to tie half hitch knots. And we want to tie our knots between the the 15 and the 8/0 to bring in our knots into the 8/0. So let's go through. Now we're going to go ahead and cheat a little bit because we're going to cut through. So go in through this 15 after your IrisDuo and go through the IrisDuo. And then go in through the 15 right after that IrisDuo, the one that's right before, that is part of that grouping here. And tie a knot after this 15 and bring your knot into that 8/0. So I'm going to do a knot. Now the reason I'm tying a knot here, why I want to do little knots here, is because we are going to cut our thread, and then we're going to okay, so I've already done half hitch knots around my little piece, and again I did them here right before this 8/0, and then I pushed them into this. I went into the 8/0 and I put my knots in there. So I did that all around, and so I did a total of 4 knots. So after that, go ahead and cut your thread, and you should still have plenty of thread on your needle. Now we're going to drop down to one of our side IrisDuos, and we're going to go into the lower hole or the outermost hole, or if you're looking at it like this, to our left hole. So put your needle in through there. Now pick up 6 11/0, and I am using 2 different colors. You don't have to use 2 different colors, but I am. So I'm going to do 2 champagne, 2 magic purple, and 2 champagne. And then I'm just going to be careful not to take all of my thread through this because I do not have a knot, but that's fine. And I'm going to go back through that same IrisDuo. I'm just going to circle around and go in through it like that. So all I did was circle around, and I have my 6 beads on like this. So I'm going to hold on to my tail, and I'm going to reinforce all 6 of these beads. And you can do this part with 2 needles. But I find that doing this type of band, I can do it with 1 needle, okay. So let's just untangle here. Okay, and I'm going to go through these 2, and then I'm going to go through my IrisDuo again. Hold on to my tail. Now I'm going to go through my IrisDuo again. And I caught the 11/0 after it. That's fine, because I'm going to go through that. And I'm going to go through my first 4 beads. So I want to be coming out my middle 2 beads, which are my magic purple beads. I pulled a little too hard, so I shortened my thread there. But that's okay. Well, I cannot pull it. So I'm just going to have to tie a knot with that, but that'll be fine. Okay, so I'm coming out through my, just be careful when you pull that you hold on to your tail thread, so you don't want to end up with such a short tail like that. You want to be comfortable, you want to be able to tie your knot here comfortably. So I'll be able to do it. I will have a I'll probably have a little bit of a more difficult time than usual, but I'll be able to do it. Okay, so I'm coming out of my 2 middle beads here. I'm going to add 6 more. It's going to be 2 champagne, 2 purple, and 2 champagne. I'm going to circle around and go through those middle beads again. So this is how I'm going to do my band. I'm going to do a bunch of these boxes. I'm going to keep adding, see that's already 2. I'm going to keep adding 6 beads and then circling around, going through those same 2 that I'm coming out of. And I'm going to do that until I have enough boxes that will go around my finger comfortably. See, now I'm ready to do another box. I'm going to pick up 6 more, 2 champagne, 2 magic purple, and 2 champagne. I'm coming out of these middle 2 beads. I'm going to go in through those same beads again in the opposite direction. And then I'm going to thread on down to my middle 2 beads, which are my magic purple. And once I'm coming out of those magic purple, like this, I'm going to do another box. So go ahead and do the number of boxes that you need. When you are at a number that fits you comfortably, go ahead and stop and I'll show you what to do. But keep in mind, when you finish this part, you need to be coming out of your middle 2 boxes, your middle 2 beads. So do the number of boxes that you need that fit around your finger, but make sure that when you end it that you're coming out of your middle 2, and I'll show you what to do after that. Okay, so I did the number of boxes that I needed, and now we need to connect this end to our other IrisDuo. So like I said, you have to be coming out of your 2 middle beads. So we're going to connect directly across to our IrisDuo directly across. So you're going to put on 2 11/0s, and my needle is coming out on this side, so I need to go in this way. So I put in my 2 11/0s. Now I'm going through my IrisDuo, and I need 2 more 11/0s, and I need to go in through all those beads. These 2 in the middle here, and then the 2 11/0s I just added, and I need to go through my IrisDuo. So this is what you got. So now we're ready to fill in our sides. So once you're coming out of your IrisDuo, go in through your 2 11/0s on the side and pull. And now we're going to start filling in all these little in between our groupings of 2 11/0s that are on the side of your box. So I'm coming out of these 2. I'm going to pick up another magic purple, and this is where I should have probably used another color. I think I'm going to get another color of purple. That way that's not too blendy. And I'm going to use this one. Okay. Just wanted to change it up a bit. Okay. So I'm coming out of these 2 11/0s. I'm going to pick up an 11/0. Coming out of these 2, I picked up 1, and I'm going to go through these 2 champagne 11/0s right here that are on my side, and I'm going to pull. And when I pull, I'm only going to pull hard enough to get my bead in there. I'm not going to pull super tight. So all on this step, you just want to pull hard enough to get your bead into that little space. So I'm coming out of these 2. I'm going to pick up a bead, go through these 2, and pull just to get my bead in there. Coming out of these 2, grab my bead. I'm going to go through these 2 here and pull. Coming out of those 2 again, grabbing another bead, go through these two, and pull. So we're just filling in our side of our band. And then we're going to, once we get to the end, we're going to go through that IrisDuo and then come down our 2 champagne 11-0s, or whatever color you may have, our 2 that are after the 11-0, and we're going to start doing the same thing on that side and filling in. So pretty simple step. Now on this ring here, I did it a little bit different, and I'll go ahead and tell you what I did as soon as I finish up here. And I just wanted to see how that would look, so I did it a little bit different, and I'll explain how I did that. I wasn't crazy about how I did it on this ring, so that's why I didn't do it on this one. So I'm going through my 11-0. I'm just going to hold on to this tail. Okay. And again, that would have been easier if I hadn't shortened it. So when you pull in your needle through there, when you're just beginning your band, just make sure you hold on to your tail so that you don't end up with such a tiny thread tail. See, coming out through these two, I'm going to go through these, and I'm just going to do the same thing on this side, and then this, and I'm just going to just pull hard enough to get my bead in there. And because I don't want to ruin the tension on my band. I don't want one side to come out. It won't look even. It'll look really strange, and you just, to avoid that, just pull just gently, and just to get these beads in that space. And as you can see, I'm still going to have quite a bit, whoops, one too many beads there. I'm still going to have quite a bit of thread. So that will make it easier for you to do your half hitch knots down your band. So to get your band nice and sturdy too. So I took out one, ready to go back in. I'm coming out these two, pick up another. Go through these two here, and I'm almost done. And I'm going to go through these two, and I'm going to go through my IrisDuo. Whoops, and pull. Now you can pull tight. So everything is nice and snug. So now you're ready to do your half hitch knots. And I'm going to do mine after my groupings of champagne beads. And I'm going to bring my thread into that purple bead that I just added from the last step. And tie as many knots as you want, just to make it nice and sturdy. And once you pull your knots in there, they won't show. So tie as many as you like, as many as you are comfortable with. Definitely do more than one. This is a good opportunity to really tighten your work and pull your knots in through your beads so they won't be showing. It's not going to do anything to your project. You will get a good sturdy band out of it. So I'm just going to do that all the way down on both sides. So go ahead and do the same, and I will meet you back. Okay, so I am finished with my ring. All I did was I tied my half hitch knots, like I said here in my band, and it doesn't matter where you tie them, but I tied them after these groupings of 2 champagnes, and I'd bring them through the purple. But I mean, you can also do your knots in between the 2 here, like my 2 champagnes, and then bring them into your other champagne. It doesn't matter. Just tie as many knots as you can. And then I met my thread up, the one that I had my little tail, and I was able to tie a knot with the help of my flat nose pliers. I held on to the shorter thread with my flat nose pliers, and I pulled the other thread with my other hand, so not a problem. And then I just put my knot in my IrisDuo. So this is our ring. This is our sweet and simple ring. Here's this one, and here's this one. And I do like how the green thread just disappears. It just blends in with so many different color beads. I love it. And this is how it looks. And I did do this one a bit bigger than I had made some other ones. So that's how it looks. It's really cute. Now this one, I did the band a little bit different. See how this one doesn't have anything decorating the sides of the IrisDuo, and this one does. This one does. All I did was, instead of cutting my thread, and then, because on this one, I tied knots here around the flower, and then I cut my thread, and then I just stuck my thread on the bottom hole of this IrisDuo, and I began my band. On this one, I didn't cut my thread. I just went from this hole of my IrisDuo to the bottom hole of the IrisDuo, and I put 3/15 in between. Well, not in between. Well, in between the holes. So in other words, I put in, coming out of this hole here, the top hole here, coming out of this one here, I put in 3/15, and then I went into this hole here, going that way. And then I put in 3/15 again, and I went back up this hole, and then came down the 15 through my IrisDuo, and then I put in my 6 11 to start my band, and so forth. So that was the only difference from this one and this one. On this one, I cut my thread. I tied knots up here, cut my thread, and then just stuck my needle down here. On this one, I didn't cut my thread. I just, when I hopped down to the other hole, I just put 15 there so that, to keep from having thread exposed. So that's why I did it. But I didn't care for that look. So I like it better like this. So, but, you know, feel free to do it however you want, or to do a whole other type of band completely. You can even just cut your thread after you do your knots up here, and then from here, well, I don't know if you can, I don't think you can stick in stretchy thread, but unless you use one of those. I've never used them, but they're those type of needles with the, I don't know what they're called, big eye needles. Big eye needles. You can probably do a stretchy band if you use a stretchy string and a big eye needle. I don't know, I haven't tried it, but you know, you can do whatever type of band you want. You don't have to do it like this. But here we go. This is what we got. This is our sweet and simple ring. I hope you enjoyed making this, and thank you very much for watching.